All right, we are recording. All right, ladies. So I wanted to introduce to you our first guest speaker. So Heather Carvey. I met Heather actually in a business course that I took a few months ago. So we took a course with a number of other business health coaches. So I got to meet Heather, and we're actually in a smaller mastermind group. So Heather has focused and has a number of certifications. I'll allow her to kind of share a little bit more of her background. And kind of plant-based is one of her areas where she's kind of an expertise in. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and pass it over to her, allow her to go ahead and share her background, and allow her to kind of share in there. And what I might do too is just kind of chime in and ask some questions in there too. So, but go ahead, Heather. I'd love for you to kind of introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, okay, so my journey started probably back in like 2007. I was going through a really rough divorce, and the only thing that I could like control and that was like my happy time was with food. So I ended up going to La Cordon Bleu. I graduated in 2009, and then after that I went on to get my bachelor's in alternative health with Ashford University, and I got certified as a health coach with IIN at the same time, and I just kind of snowballed into a bunch of different certifications. Vegetarian cuisine has always been like something close to my heart. I grew up with chickens. One of my I didn't tell you that. I grew up with chickens, and in high school, one of my chickens was egg bound. When their first egg comes out, it's way too big and it gets stuck. And we had to put my chicken down, and I was really upset. But in the process of trying to find videos about my chicken, I stumbled across a bunch of PETA videos, and I ended up going full vegetarian vegan for like a good year or two. And now I still dabble in it. I don't believe in such a rigid structure anymore, but I still dabble in it now. I met my fiance about 3.5 years ago. We've been separated for a year now. We were together for 2.5. He was 410 pounds, a little over when we met. And I knew, like, I think like majority of like the really quick, easy excuses that, oh, you need to exercise, you know, or stop eating so much. And I think that's bullshit. It really is. Because when you're that big, it's the weight puts too much stress on your joints, and you really can't. You're going to hurt yourself. So my way of helping him was through diet. And I don't believe in just jumping like full on into like, you can't go from one extreme to the other. You have to take baby steps down. I mean, it's like going down steps. Like you can't just jump from the top to the bottom. You're probably going to hurt yourself. You have to go down each step to get to the bottom, or other way around.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. I mean, you have to go up the steps. I mean, otherwise, like you can't just jump. Like that's dangerous and scary as shit. So the way I did it was through diet, and what we did was, we stopped going out to eat, no fast food. I cut out sodas. I just basically, I believe in replacing. I don't believe in restricting. So, I cut out the red meat, a lot of the meat in his diet, and I replaced it with a whole bunch of vegetables. But you'd think like, oh my God, where are you going to get your protein? That's like the main argument that I get is like, where are you going to get your protein? But vegetables have so much protein, it's ridiculous. I mean, the whole animal food industry, from eggs to milk, the beef, they spend a lot of money to keep those animals alive. So they need profit. So they're going to continually tell you, you need this, you need this, you need this. And it's really clever and really good marketing. But we're almost brainwashed to believe that we have to have this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's like vegan bodybuilders, so clearly we don't.
I was icing my knee down a few days ago at my brother's house, and it was edamame, frozen edamame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's neat to look at the nutritional content and look how high protein content is.
Oh yeah, no joke. I mean, you have like, it's so nutritionally dense. You get so much protein in like a smaller amount, like a smaller bite-sized pieces than you would be eating like an entire huge steak. that really slows your metabolism down because it's really hard to digest. So if you're getting something that's faster to digest, easier for your body to digest, and you're getting more bang for your buck, like nutrient wise, you don't have to eat as much because you're going to be, if you think about it this way, like your body needs certain nutrients, right? It has like a quota. So if you're eating this little bit and it has all of your quota, you're not going to be hungry still because your body already got all it needs. But if you're eating like this big, huge plate and it's only got this little bit of nutrients in it, an hour later, you're going to be hungry again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why am I overeating? I don't understand. You're beating yourself up. Like, I can't stop. I'm still overeating. Like, it's because what you're eating is not packed full of nutrients.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one of the easiest ways that I found with my ex to incorporate more vegetarian stuff, because vegetarian's scary. It's like a 4-letter word. It's like, oh no, that's going to taste like cardboard. It's going to taste like crap. It's gross. I'm going to starve. Like, there's a whole bunch of like negative thoughts that come along with it. And that needs to be like, it's just your mind. So you have to change your mindset. But that was one of the things that he thought, like, oh, it's going to taste awful. And I'm like, okay. He thought it would be like bland and flavorless and taste awful. And he was going to miss the meat and the whole nine. And after the first couple dishes that I made, he was like, holy cow, this is crazy. And he was literally running, and mind you, this is in the middle of Texas.
Huh.
He's a big guy in the middle of Texas. He's running around telling everybody that he's eating vegetarian food. Wow. And they're looking at him like he's completely bonkers. But, I mean, that's how much he was excited about it. So this book, have you heard of this?
Uh-huh, yeah. I've never looked inside of it.
So funny. It's so funny, but he loved this book, and it has a ton of great recipes in it. I still use it to this day. I love this book. I love it. And then every once in a while when I'm at the store.
Vegetarian dishes?
Yeah, it's all vegan, actually,
okay.
which is crazy, but it's just straight vegetables. Like, it's nuts. Like, it's not really, there's no crazy ingredients. Like some vegan books and stuff that I get, they have like these crazy like agar-agar and xanthan gum, and I feel like a scientist, and I'm like, it's too much. If I have to like sit there and search for it, and I'm asking the people at the store like, hey, do you have xanthan gum? And they're like, you want gum? Never mind.
That's
like,
hilarious.
yeah, if I feel like I'm speaking a foreign language trying to get my ingredient list, there's a problem. So yeah. I like to keep it as simple as possible. If I can get everything from like the farmer's market, even better. I mean, that's a great source for vegetables. They're cheap as hell. So yeah, I think it's all vegan.
Yeah, I have to check it out. I've heard of the book. I just have never looked inside of it.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Like, literally, they cuss through the whole book. It's like if you have like a sailor friend that cusses all the time and drinks and is trying to explain things and has these elaborate stories to tell you, and you're like, it's really engaging to be around, but probably not around children. That's what this book is. Like, it's so funny. Like, let me find. Like, I mean, even with the drinks, can you see that? I know it's backwards.
No, it's not backwards for me.
It's not. Is that so funny?
That is hilarious. Is that tea or what is it though?
It's tea. It says you'd get this refreshing fucker. Like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh.
But the whole book is just really funny. So this is a nice way to transition if you want to just like, what I tell my clients is like, just don't go full rigid, like thinking if I'm vegetarian, I can't have meat. Like, you stick yourself in this little box, and then it's nothing but like restrict. And then your natural instinct is to rebel. Like, oh no, I can't have this, so now I really want it. But if you do, like, if you have 7 nights a week where you eat meat, take 2 of them. Start off with 2, just 2, and then try to make those just vegetarian. And then work into that and get more comfortable with it. And then the next week, do 3 days, you know what I mean? And get the rest of the family involved, because that helps a lot when they're involved, to get them to want to eat it. Seasoning is huge. Seasoning is the biggest problem. Like, use kosher salt, and taste as you go. So that's another thing. One thing I wanted to touch on. Most people think that eating healthy is really expensive, but if you're vegetarian, It's really cheap. It's ridiculously cheap, especially if you go to like the farmer's market. You can get so much produce for close to nothing, and then you're surprisingly full because you have all these nutrients in you.
Great
Fat,
point. I never thought of it that way, to be honest with you.
yeah, fat and protein is what makes you full. Don't be scared of fat. You need healthy fats like avocados and walnuts and cashews and salmon.
Hi.
So what I do is I do like mainly vegetarian, like 80 to 90% of my diet is most of the time it's vegetarian. Like most of the time you'll like be cooking something, you don't even realize that it's vegetarian. You're like, oh wow, there's no meat in here. And oh wow, there's not even dairy. Like maybe this is vegan. This is cool. Like you don't even think about it. But if you do most of your stuff like 80 and 90% vegetarian, then you save so much, you flexible in your budget that usually like once a month or so, maybe twice a month, usually once a month, I'll go through, like the grocery store has like the grass-fed organic pasture-raised beef, and I'll pick up like a couple hamburger patties of that, and you know, me and my girls will have some hamburgers.
Yeah.
So it's not completely, I'm not like, oh, I can't ever have this, because if I'm in a situation where I'm at like, what, sweetheart? Okay, can you give me a minute? Give me 2 minutes, okay? If you're in a situation like I went to France when I was pregnant for a week, I went to Paris, and I'm in Paris. I'm gonna eat like the duck à l'orange. It's like a famous French dish, you know. I'm there. I'm gonna try it.
Right.
I don't want to be so rigid in my diet that I'm literally missing out on life.
Yeah, I have a good friend of mine who went vegan, and then she decided to kind of, it was just so restrictive, meaning she would be out socially and just felt like
You feel alienated.
Yeah, and so she could only do it for so long because she just did not want the food she's eating to be, you know, that same exact thing, meaning she's having to.
Right. I mean, you go to like family events or like social gatherings, you feel completely alienated. Everyone's looking at you and you're having to sit there and explain your diet over and over and over again.
Right.
The easiest part is, you know what, like they have really good Boca burgers or really good vegetarian burgers, and it's becoming so much more popular now, so people aren't looking at people weird. If you have to go to a barbecue, bring some of your own Boca burgers and just be like, hey, can you throw these on for me? Like, and most people have no issues. They're like, oh, okay, you're going vegetarian. Like, yeah, you know, I'm just trying to be a little bit healthier, you know, and that's it. It's not a big deal, you know, but on occasion, if you want to like indulge like once a month, you know, go have some ribs, you know, whatever. It's once a month. It's moderation. It's not like an everyday.
When your ex fiance, when you guys were even putting some of his dishes together, what were some of the? Did he find himself naturally just kind of going away from some of the processed foods? Or what was the process for him? Because
yeah, I think the processed foods were just easier. Like men typically don't want to think about stuff; they just want to do and go. They don't want to think about things. So I think it was just easy for him. When he was like cooking at home, I found that most of his stuff was like the hamburger helper, stroganoff stuff, because it had a box with instructions, because he wasn't confident in just doing his own thing in the kitchen. So I found that the reason why people steer towards processed foods is because it's easier, and B, they aren't confident in doing it on their own. There's instructions with it. But, I mean, you can look up easy recipes like in these books or a magazine or a website. I look up on Pinterest. Pinterest is huge resource for healthier vegetarian stuff, because I'll just type in, like, I don't restrict myself, so if I want tacos, I just type in healthy tacos or vegetarian tacos, and it comes up with like 50 recipes. I can just scroll through and see which one I want to make. You know what I mean? So then you still have your instructions. It's just not in a box. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Like a recipe is the same as like the back of the box. I mean, it's just different instructions. You're just
right.
making it from scratch instead of like a powder that has like literally little to no nutrient content. So you're going to eat.
What have you found, like, if we just talk a little bit about let's say that box, and I know for my own self, but as we're dialoguing and stuff, if we were to look at the box and look at a hamburger helper, and look at the difference of, right, if we're naturally cooking, you know, not from the box, what have you, like, in your own knowledge and all that, what is, like, someone that may not know, like, they may not understand the difference between the two, why would, as we even think through this stuff, because that's what we're teaching now, we're going through now in our group, is we're talking about how we start going for those better food options, and we naturally start to do that, we start going away from those processed foods. So we're now working through that right now, as we're naturally going for better food options, and we start to kind of, again, go away from fast food. We start going away, and that takes time. I understand.
It does.
It totally
it's a habit. It's a habit. You're building habits.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I immediately just think of that movie, Super Size Me. I don't know if you've seen that, but just think of that, the addictive patterns in those processed foods. But I mean, the more we look at those natural foods that we're talking about, the more our body not only craves it, but we also go away from sugar. We go away from soda. We go away from all those type of foods. And so I'm not sure if you've seen that in your own self, or if you've seen that just like you work closely with Beyonce.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No. Sorry.
You're okay. If you need to attend to him, that's okay.
Oh no, it's okay. This is my life, so it's just part of it. So ever since I've been like a single mom now, it's really hard. Like you need like convenience. You need things to be as easy as possible. So I meal prep a lot now, but it's so easy, honestly, even for myself, to just like say, screw it, I'll just do Uber Eats, or screw it, I'll just go through a drive-thru on the way to the babysitter's house and just call it a day. But their health means more to me than mine. I mean, and then my health is important, because if I don't take care of myself, then I'm not around for them. So you know what I mean? Like, it's habits, but you have to like consciously make that decision and that choice and commit to yourself. Just like like you do with a relationship. I mean, you walk around, there's hot guys walking around everywhere, and you're just like, no, I'm in a committed relationship. I'm going to refrain myself because I care about my spouse. But you have to think about yourself as your spouse. Like, you are in a relationship with yourself. Hey, I'm busy. You need to wait. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a relationship with yourself.
Yes.
Hey, please stop. Okay, you need to wait until I'm done, though.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And it's a relationship with ourself, even with food and all that. So that's how I kind of teach that component too, is just as we look at how we build that internal dialogue with ourself, even when we look at, I know it sounds kind of weird, but when we look around food, but that is kind of, in a lot of ways, what can help us to build that in the long run. So
right. It's just small steps too. I mean, if you start like, you just focus on one thing. I mean, that's what they taught us in IIN. The Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We do crowding out. So it means that if I'm filling up my diet with a whole bunch of nutrient dense vegetables, I'm naturally not going to have as much room for the junk, because I'm full on the other good stuff. So you just keep pushing more good stuff in there, and naturally it pushes the other bad stuff out.
Yep.
And just fix your habits. Like, if your habit is to go to the same drive-through every day and pick up something like that, then make another habit. Go spend that $5, go to Jamba Juice and buy an actual juice. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand like smoothies can be really unhealthy because they're really high in fructose and stuff like that. But if you stick with like the juices, the juice stuff, like the green juices and stuff, like carrot juice, and eventually get less and less sweet, your taste buds adapt. And that's something that my ex noticed too. Like when we would do like a detox, like a cleanse. And then after the cleanse is done, like in the beginning, he's like, oh my God, this stuff tastes awful. It tastes like earth, And then afterwards, he's like, okay, it's not so bad. And then he'd go back and try to eat something like normal. And he's like, this tastes completely different because your taste buds change.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then your hormones change, which your hormones affect your cravings. So like literally, like, it's good to flush it out every now and then. I do a lot of juicing. But yeah, just changing your everyday routines, like just little bits every day. Like if you if you take like you focus on one thing for like a week, you're like, okay, all I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna drink more water. That's it. That's all you're focusing on for the entire week. Fuck everything else. You're just focusing on just drinking more water. And you do that for the whole week, then naturally after that it becomes a routine and habit.
Yep.
And then the next time, like once you got that one down and it's a habit, you're not even thinking about it anymore, you're just doing. Then after that, you start working on another little habit. And you just do tiny little bits until eventually you're like, holy cow, how did I get here? Because you just done little bits along the way.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. I'm a total component of that, for sure. That was big, real big in my own weight loss, is setting those small goals and kind of building like a progression, building that snowball effect. So, so is there anything else, like as far as like I want to kind of wrap up in the sense of if there's any other piece of advice or any other tips you would have around for, you know, either if it's your own clients or any of the ladies that, you know, certainly I'm working with, and you know, and I'd love to be able to somehow connect them with you on Facebook. And know you're kind of in some transitions and things, but I'd love to when the time is ready to get them connected with you if that was when you're ready for that. But
yeah, I have my Facebook. It's a free support group that I do. I post a lot of my spiritual stuff in there now, but in the file section, because I was geared towards food, I have a ton of recipes in there. I have a couple detox programs and weight loss program, little mini workshops and stuff in there too. I mean, if they want.
Cool. Yeah,
it's mainly all spirituality stuff now, but yeah, my takeaway would probably be to don't be so rigid and hard on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I call myself a flexitarian. I don't like fitting in a box because people are not boxes. You know, we have to be flexible to our surroundings. So just be able to adjust, you know what I mean? Work on moderation. And don't be scared of vegetarian food. I mean, try Thug Kitchen is an amazing way to transition into that, so it's less scary. And you feel more comfortable with it and understand that it can taste amazing without all of the meat stuff that's slowing down your digestion. So that was the biggest main thing that I noticed with my ex on how he lost all that weight. Like, what is that, 160 pounds in a year and a half with no exercise.
Wow. And
that was all because I took out 80 to 90% of the meat in his diet. So we still had meat, but not very often. It was like maybe one to 2 days a week we would have meat. Like one day would be chicken or turkey, and the other day would be fish, and then the other 5 days would be vegetarian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I took out most of the meat, and we stopped going out to eat, which actually saved us more money too.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, those were my two main things. We just added more vegetarian in, and we stopped going out.
Yeah. I love it. All great tips. All super helpful. So your group, Facebook group, so that I can get them connected. What's it called?
What did I change? I think it's Spiritual Detox right now.
Okay. And I can get I can mention.
Yeah, I can give you the link.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I just wanted to thank you for coming on, and super helpful info. I love every bit of that, and I'll get the link to the girls so that if they wanted to just stay in touch with you. Love to do that for you.
Yeah, glad to help. Yeah.
Thank
great
you.
Talking to you.
And what's your name? What's the little one's name?
Oh, this is Emery. She's almost 3, and then the
cute.
big one is Phoenix. She's 5.
Fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, girls, for letting me take your some time from your mom.
All right. Thanks, ladies. You're in my ears. Bye.
Bye.